And we're back. First show since Wednesday, so we have some catching up to do. I know we're going to start with the vibe check, Shani, but before we get to that, we had a nice little weekend of ball, trade deadline stuff, Hall of Fame stuff yesterday. Always fun. A little induction ceremony. For our 40th episode, Sean and Spin in the Morning, coming to you live on Monday, July 28th. Always good stuff. Like I said, we have a lot to get into. Trade deadline stuff, always fun. But, Shani, how we feeling today on a Monday? Start the week.
Feeling good. Like you said, trade deadline, always fun. This trade deadline especially. A lot of guys moving around and still a lot of guys to be moved that have basically, like, promised to be moved almost. Like, their teams haven't come out and said, oh, yeah, we're definitely going to move this guy. But, like, every single person in the world knows Eugenio Suarez is leaving. Like Zach Allen, like there's a bunch of people out there who are probably going to get traded,
which is crazy because when we kicked off the deadline stuff, like the whole trade deadline festivities began with a Josh Naylor, who I don't know if many people expected that one. So it could be a healthy mix of, okay, the anticipation of guys we know are going to get moved, but we just don't know where or when, and guys that are just like, whoa. Like, I didn't see Naylor coming. That was kind of crazy.
It's wild to me that with the Diamondbacks, we might see 4 key players moved.
Yeah.
4. Like that. I don't know why but their front office is just like reset button and push. And they can't push it enough times apparently. But I don't know. We're going to see. It's going to be interesting we've said it time and time again that this one could be big. So
yeah, and we're talking about the Diamondbacks. Those 4 guys, 2 pitchers, and a couple of corner infielders. Naylor, of course, already has been moved. Those are 4 very big pieces as to why I love the Diamondbacks to make the playoffs this year before the season started. And now look at them. So it's crazy what can happen in just a few months or whatever. Before we get to all the trade deadline stuff, let's start with a little bit of a vibe check. And like I said, we didn't do Friday's show. Last time we did it was Wednesday, and I think we had some changes in the standings, so we might as well start with that.
Yeah, a little standing check. Toronto Blue Jays hold the best record in baseball in late July here, Spin. 5.5 games up, but they have 63 wins, 43 losses right now. We gotta give credit where credit's due. Toronto's getting it done. Getting her done. And they're not doing it against slouches either. I mean, they just played the Tigers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Won the series against the Tigers, who were previously the best team in baseball. So very interesting to see the Blue Jays doing it. The Tigers are on a cold streak right now. They're 2-8 in their last 10, but still sitting in the top of that AL Central. It's going to be really hard feat for one of those teams to go get them. The other teams in that division just continuously stay mid. But a little bit of interesting out west. We got the Texas Rangers making a push. 6-game win streak, 9-1 in their last 10, sitting tied with the Mariners at 56-50. And guess what, Spin? Sitting in the wild card right now.
Uh-oh.
The Texas Rangers are currently so I don't know who has the tiebreaker. I don't want to say they're currently in the playoffs because they're tied with the Mariners. And then the Yankees and the Red Sox. Yankees 1.5 games up in the wild card. Red Sox half a game up in the wild card. So I don't want to say they make the playoffs. So I don't know who has the tiebreaker between Texas and the Mariners, but Texas giving themselves a chance finally giving themselves a chance. Then we get to the East on the NL side of things. The Mets hot right now, 7-game win streak, 7-3 in their last 10. Phillies 1.5 games out. Dropped their last game to the Yankees in Bronx out there. But the Mets just keep on winning. keep on when Mets are traveling to San Diego and the Phillies are traveling to the White Sox. We'll get into that a little bit later. Cubs, Brewers, still tied. Since we talked about it last time, still tied. It looks like the Cubs might have the tiebreaker on them. But guess what? They play this week.
Wow.
It's gonna be the best series of the week. Two teams playing at the best of their abilities right now. Cubs 6-4 last 10. Brewers 7-3 in their last 10. But you also want to give some credit where credit's due. Reds sitting in third place. They're 7-3 in their last 10. One game out of the wild card. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Then we get over to the West, back in the West. Dodgers, 4-6 in their last 10. Still letting those Padres breathe a little bit, man. Still letting them stay on their heels. But the Padres, 57-49, 4 games back, but sitting in the wild card right now. Once again, they're probably tied with somebody, don't know who it is. But yeah, that's kind of the standings check right now. We did see a little bit of movement. Not as much as we thought. The Mets and Phillies switched. Central's still tied. The Blue Jays are kicking ass. So it's going to be a good stretch. It's nobody's clear cut. Everybody's got their problems. Who makes it happen at the deadline? We're going to find out, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later. But it's going to be an interesting end to the season, man.
Yeah, who addresses things at the deadline, who gets hot at the right time. Yeah, it's really like you look at some of these divisions and it's like Phillies, Mets are both going to be competing to try to win that division. We look at the Cubs and Brewers, and that's just the National League side and the first two that I'm looking at here. But it's very close between both of them. Cincinnati, you said too, and they had an interesting matchup to start the week with the Dodgers. I know we'll do more the look ahead stuff when we with the upcoming matchups when we do our little look ahead to see who starts the week. And we kind of briefly ran through it before we came on just to see like what the fuck was good. And there's some lopsided matchups. The big notable one is Cubs Brewer, but there's some lopsided matchups, which is going to be interesting because when we start to see who teams in the AL West play to start the week, it has all the makings of how these standings could seriously fluctuate here. I know Texas, Houston, Seattle all have matchups that are going to be interesting to start the week. Same with the Reds. They play the Dodgers, and they're trying to make a little bit of a push here and see how they're still very young, but they might have, you could argue that they have already exceeded expectations this year. Maybe not. I had them as a third place team, but if they really start to flirt with playoff shit, then I think maybe they think they're a little bit more of a spoiler. They're actually very competitive, 4-game win streak. So, yeah, very interesting how the standings are going to play out. And to start the week has all the makings of some of these teams to seriously fluctuate and do some interesting stuff. Because Cubs Brewers, I think the biggest thing to keep an eye on, NL Central will start the week because Cubs Brewers play each other. Cincinnati plays the Dodgers, and they're staying afloat, Cincy. And then the AL West also. Those are the two divisions I'd look at from Monday to Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, we'll revisit and see what the hell's going on. And hopefully we have a lot of new faces in new places by Wednesday too, because you never know. We were talking about this too. You never know when these deadline things are gonna hit. You get a notification like, "Ooh, this guy just did," and so it's crazy. But let's get into that shit in a second. We did have a little Hall of Fame induction ceremony yesterday. We had 5 guys get in. Don't know if you saw the speeches. I just saw clips. Maybe one day I'll sit down and watch the entirety of the speeches. I didn't really sit down and watch the whole ceremony, but cool stuff nonetheless. Dick Allen, Dave Parker, guys who have passed that have gotten their flowers and are currently in, but all within everyone who got in really had interesting stories. So I think Dave Parker, Dick Allen, that stuff. I mean, they're like coming through the league with like racism was a thing, and like, they're all part of that stuff. And I think Dave Parker had some issues. Also, I don't know his whole story, but there's stuff like that which kind of makes it for interesting stories, and then they get their flowers well after they retire. And actually, of course, they've been since passed. As far as the guys that we've seen growing up, Billy Wagner, Ichiro, and CeCe, cool stuff there. I had a feeling that it was a damn good class. I had a feeling that some of these speeches and the just them as like baseball people, but also personality wise and their stories were all super unique You know, like Billy Wagner, very good comeback underdog story.
Oh yeah.
He taught himself to throw lefty because he had a few injuries in his as a kid. He was a righty, like had multiple arm injuries at the right. So he taught himself to throw lefty, and now he obviously becomes a Hall of Fame closer. So and he was on his 10th ballot too. I think he's a Division III athlete. So just comeback stories out the wazoo with Billy. Love seeing him get his flowers. Ichiro, of course, sneaky sense of humor. So I thought he was going to have some little things in there. And the clips I saw, he did. So cool. And obviously, he's much deserving. And CC's the fucking man, dude. He's a guy that,
Yeah.
like, when we were kids, like, of course, that '09 team, that Yankees '09 team was my shit. So, of course, I love CC. But I look back and I almost appreciate him more now than ever. When you're a kid, an 11-year-old kid, and it's like, you don't really like think of, you just like, oh, CC's an ace, this team rules, he's the fucking man. But then you look back, you're like, no, his like leadership is the fact he was a great teammate. You hear stories all the time of how good of a teammate he was. That's the type of stuff that you kind of look back and seriously appreciate. So I feel like I love CC more and more by the year almost, because every time someone talks about CC, you hear a different story as to why he's an absolute monster. So
Like there's always there's always a special brand of guy that can like stick around a little bit after his playing days are done. Like you have like Kershaw over there in the Dodgers. If that's any other pitcher, he's retired. You know what I mean? But like that guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to stick around and he's still going to be able to get out there and show a little bit. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did CC do a little bit of like player coaching right after?
I don't know if it was like that. Maybe he was like some type of, maybe he worked in the Yankees organization as like some type of assistant. Maybe
I think for some reason I feel like I remember him right after he retired. He kind of stuck around that Yankees team for a little bit.
Yeah, he could have been some type of like assistant of some sorts.
But before finding a home with the Yankees and everything, CC he moved from the Cleveland Indians, which we're not allowed to say anymore, so the Cleveland Guardians, formerly known as the Cleveland Indians, to the Brewers, and then landed with the Yankees, right?
Yeah, and then finished out his career there, and what a good career.
And talk about a great rental for the Brewers. I mean, that's a big name right there. He was a Cy Young candidate, and he to get shipped like that over to the Brewers. The Phillies ended up taking him down that year in 2008, but then in 2009, obviously he won it. But he was an ace. He was a Cy Young candidate every single time he took the bump.
Stud. Yeah, absolute stud. So we love CC there.
And then Ichiro. I mean, like you can't say enough about him. Some of the stuff he used to do, like I think hitting wise, it was like his third game is he got over 300, and then he never dropped below 300 the rest of his career, which is unfreaking real. And then also like they don't count the hits that he has in Japan on top of the hits that he has in the MLB. I think he'd be the hit king if they counted kind of everywhere.
I don't know if he would, but he would have over 4,000.
Over 4,000 then. Probably not the hit king though. But then he played amazing defense. Yeah, I know. But then also like Ichiro played a really good right field. I still remember like watching his one throw from right field where he threw it so perfectly. The third baseman didn't move his glove, hit him right there, right where the tag was supposed to be placed. Like he was pretty unbelievable out there. And then like you said, Billy Wagner, Billy Wagner had a really interesting story. But it's good to see these three guys getting their flowers.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good class. Like no qualms with the class, and I'm pretty strict to who I like would let in. For my like the rate I'm going, I'd never get a vote ever. You know what I mean? Like I do not fit the mold of how these guys vote at all. I'm very strict, but I thought top to bottom was a really good class, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
How about this little AUSL action? I've not been watching it, but hey, sometimes we come back to it. This will be the last time we come back to it because the championship just happened, and the Talons won the first ever AUSL championship. They won. It was a best of 3 series, and they swept the Bandits. So they took the Saturday game, the Sunday game. I think that's when it was, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. And they did. I don't know any notables there. I think the Bandits scored like 1 run in the 2-game series or the 2-game span. But yeah, so good job, Talons, AUSL. It was fun. I was on the Bandits early, so they went to the chip. But we'll see how the AUSL continues to go. It was a good little first year. Speaking of, now here's the thing with the AUSL. They don't have homes. you know. So maybe
Mhm.
they'll find homes because they did a tour this year. But hey, talk about teams that don't have homes at the moment. The Orphaned A's. And the big talk of the town from this team was the Lancaster Milkman, Nick Kurtz, on Friday. 6-for-6 day, 4 home runs.
Yeah, I think what was it, 19 total bases?
Yeah, he's only the second guy to ever do that after Sean Green. And by the
Yeah,
way, Sean, he spells his name wrong.
I know. I see that. I see that. I see that. It hurts me a little bit. But Nick the Milkman Kurtz, dude, what a performance that guy put on. Um, I saw a Houston Astros fan tweeted that the A's turn into prime Barry Bonds at least once a summer when they play the Astros. And
Nice.
I think it's probably true because that's unbelievable. I remember I getting the notifications and things like that, and people were like, "Oh, it doesn't count." His fourth one was against a position player. Yeah, suck my dick, dude. It definitely freaking counts. The guy just hit 4 home runs, went 6-for-6 on your sorry ass team. Suck it up.
I mean, yeah, if you don't want it to count, then stay in the fucking game. It was a blowout. Of course, they're going to
Exactly.
bring in a position player. Well, here's the thing. So the 20th player to ever do that, first rookie to ever do it. Now, the crazy thing is, and of course, he's representing the great city of Lancaster. I don't know if people call it that, but Amish country nonetheless.
I think the A's announcer of the guy, not the chick, called him like the Amish sensation or something like that.
I think I heard
Big
of
Amish,
the Big Amish. Yep,
that's what he called him.
That's what I heard.
That rocks too. I
That
like
rocks.
Lancaster
I like
Milkman,
ours.
but Big Amish is also good.
Yeah, Lancaster Milkman or the Big Milkman, Big Amish. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
all plays. Ours is cool because we go a little bit deeper in like we just assume that Amish people drink a lot of milk, but also he drank a lot of milk because he's a big boy.
He's a big boy. It
So
works
you know
both
that he likes
ways.
milk. Yeah,
It's
so
a double entendre.
yeah, it's a double entendre here for Mickey here. But that was crazy, and I remember thinking I was getting notification. He was like had 3 home runs, and it's like, oh, Nick just hit his third, and I looked like I picked up in like a fantasy league because he was going off like prior to like he's been good pretty much.
Yeah,
even maybe a little before the All-Star break, but he's really popped off since. And I guess when he came back after he was a little bit banged up, and when he came back, he really hasn't looked back. But he's really was trying to. So I think I picked him up in a league or two, and then I looked at it. It was at the time he was 5 for 5 with 3 homers, and I was like, holy shit, Nick. And then and I was like, and it was also maybe like the 8th inning. I didn't think he was going to get another at bat, but I was like, this is an insane day by the kid. Then he goes 6 for 6, hits his 4th homer, which is nuts. 8 ribbies on the day, 19 total bases. That's insane. Talk about a fantasy owner's wet dream right there.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with Kurtzy, first rookie to ever do it. Now it begs the question because his stock is rising in terms of rookie of the year voting. Jacob Wilson still having a very good season. His batting average taking a little bit of a dip post All-Star break, even maybe slightly before we started to see. And would have been a big ask for us to have been like, oh, he's going to hit 350 all year as a rookie, which is crazy. Yeah. He's 0 for whatever. He's hitting 0.63 in his last 7 days. He's still hitting over 300 on the season. But I would have to see what Vegas says in terms of the odds.
So
I think
I have it up right now.
Because Kurtz's stock has shot up greatly.
So I'll talk about the odds first because Nick Kurtz is actually favored right now over Jacob Wilson. And Roman Anthony worked his way into third, but it's like Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, Roman Anthony is like all the way down here kind of thing. Which, I mean, I want to kind of give credit to Roman Anthony because I know he struggled when he first came up, but guess what, guys? Guess what? He's like a 21-year-old. He's probably going to struggle when he first comes up, but now he's getting his footing because he's a good baseball player.
Yeah,
I can't stand some of these people who like they just cut it off. But then on the National League side, it's Baldwin 1, Mizorowski right below him though, and then Ha-Seong Kim in third, tied with Augustin Ramirez as well. But it's Drake Baldwin, Jacob Mizorowski right now.
And once Mizorowski gets more innings in and continues, like he's actually pitching tonight against Matthew Boyd, crazy shit.
Yeah.
But when Mizorowski starts to pitch more and then actually put together a bigger sample size, I just think he's probably going to surpass Baldwin there.
Before we move on from the Lancaster Milkman, here are his July numbers as of this was written yesterday. These are his July numbers. 11 home runs, 27 RBIs. He's batting .425, on base percentage of .494, slugging percentage of 1.082, OPS 1576, runs 22, doubles 13, extra base hits 25 in the month of July.
He's nuts.
That is insane.
And here's the thing. So he got his average over 300, and now he has 23 homers on the season. It's not crazy to think he's going to flirt with a 30-homer season in a rookie season, and he didn't even play the full year.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. The A's have to be like, they can't screw this one up. Because, listen, we don't like to get too high on these young guys because, I mean, we've seen it with like Corbin Carroll had a down year, sophomore year. But this has all the makings of this guy being a like flirting with having the most home runs in the entire league, over 100 RBI years, stuff like that. That's what he's kind of shaping up to be in a sense right now.
Yeah, and I think either way, rookie of the year, very safe to assume it comes out of West Sacramento.
Yeah, probably a couple silver sluggers for this guy in the future.
Yeah, he's pacing like that. And here's another dude who's a homer guy, silver slugger guy. This guy has MVPs. We'll see if Nick Kurtz can compete with on that level. But hey, things are looking good for him. But either way, I'm talking about Aaron Judge right now. He got banged up. Kind of crazy that now also, if you want to talk about odds and trends, that increases Cal Riley's odds right there. So like he's a favorite to be the MVP now that Judge is banged up. By the way, it's not like, I mean, it's been neck and neck kind of like all season. Maybe not neck and neck. I always thought maybe it was Judge's award to lose, but in terms of like valuable, I remember talking about how maybe lean the catcher, but Cal maybe had been a little bit more quiet, especially since he was just so loud to start the season. And then, we always talk about peaks and valleys to everybody, but Cal's always been in the conversation. Now Judge bangs up. Cal is now the favorite. But guess what? He hit homers number 40 on Saturday and then 41 on Sunday. So, I mean, what the fuck? Judge like 10-day IL. I think when he comes back, he'll most likely DH a lot. I mean, I don't know if he plays the field at all. I think he'll be DH'd and then Stanton in the outfield maybe.
Oh God, dude, that's going to be actually freaking hilarious to see. Did you see the video of him like wincing after he threw that ball?
That was a little while ago, right? And then it was like
a
few days later he got, or what, maybe the next day or the guy. I don't know the exact timeline.
I know some fans were kind of like calling out the Yankees, like, how do you not notice this kind of thing? But like, if Judge doesn't say anything, there's two ways you can go with this. If Judge doesn't say anything, then you're going to assume he's fine because he is your guy. You want him in the lineup as badly as you, especially right now with how good the East is becoming. But also that's kind of like playing devil's advocate here. That's why you got to check him out because he is your guy and you can't have him out for a long time. So as soon as you see that, you need to jump on that. And I kind of lean on that side. Like you got to have eyes on your best guy. And if you see even a little bit of wincing, something's got to happen. You got to almost force him to get looked at.
Yeah. I don't even know the severity of it when it first happened. Maybe it was just like, hey, it's only concerning once when there's time to be concerned. And maybe, it's only bad when it's bad. You know what I mean? Like maybe at the time he didn't feel like it was all that fucked up. Like, I don't know how his body was feeling. Maybe he was like, yeah, he felt good hitting because I think he can do that. So it's like, I feel good swinging a bat. Maybe, just got to ice it or whatever. Like, but there's something to be said about not pushing it. But we'll see how that continues to go. Sometimes there's something to be said about Stanton when he has played the outfield. Maybe his offensive numbers go up. He's one of those, you always hear about that. DHing can be a hard job, at least take his mind off of something if things go awry at the plate. And then he can go out and just hit. I remember he did that in like the 2022 playoffs, got a little time in left field. So we'll see between Grisham, Bellinger, and Dominguez, though, in the absence of Judge for these next few days. I think it's like early August he's set to return, but I don't know if he's be playing the outfield then. So as in the time being, it's pretty obvious with Stanton DHing and then Grisham, Bellinger, Dominguez from left to right, or however you want to do it. Maybe Bellinger and right, Dominguez and Grisham left to center. But like when he comes back, yeah, I mean, if he's just going to DH, you can't lose the bat. But it might hurt defensively because you pay Stanton a whole lot of money, and Stanton was the dude in the playoffs last year. We know what he can do in that type of playoff atmosphere. He's kind of a postseason dude, and he's also is Giancarlo Stanton. So you kind of want him in the lineup too. But then you put him in the outfield, and it's not really. Do you put Stanton and Dominguez on the corners because they're both not known for the defense, to say the least, where Bellinger and Grisham are? So at least maybe you want to, if the days that Stanton plays the outfield, Dominguez doesn't. I mean, this is a little farther down the road, but at least Bellinger and Grisham are like Gold Glove guys that can, maybe masquerade Dominguez. But if you had Dominguez and Stanton out there at the same time, that's worrisome. I don't think it would come to that, but crazy shit to say the least. And there's hope Judge a nice recovery and to get back to what he's doing, because before he went down, he was the MVP. It was his MVP award to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go to another guy, the former MVP, Trout. 1,000 ribbies on Sunday. That was yesterday. He did it via the 2-run homer. So, classic Mike Trout doing big things in big ways. 4 homers away from 400. So I think a while back we talked about who some of these next milestones. There was like milestones that happened. I guess it was Kershaw 3,000. Even before that, there might have been some cutesy little milestones along the way that we've seen this year. I know Harper a few times. I think Harper had 1,000 ribbies this year, and he also hit his 350th home run.
And I think Judge did too.
And Judge hit 350. So,
yeah.
And there's probably things that we're forgetting too. But over the course of the season, we've seen some of these cutesy milestones, or in some cases, some big milestones. I would think 1,000 ribbies is pretty fucking awesome. And now 4 homers away from 400. We'll see that this year too. So big stuff there.
I've been seeing a lot of newer guys coming on the scene, throwing some hate at Trout. Little young guppies, not really understanding what Mike Trout used to do on a consistent basis every day. How he used to just be clear cut. There was nobody better in the goddamn world, Mike Trout.
Yeah. It was literally like Miguel Cabrera when he first came up, and that was like Trout's second year in the league, and Miggy won a Triple Crown, and still it was like Trout's getting like that proud.
You want to talk about 5-tool player? I mean, the blueprint was Mike Trout. Mike Trout did everything at the highest level. At the highest level, he was the best in his position in fielding, hitting. He was the best. Actually, sorry, he was a platinum glove level guy out in the outfield. Meanwhile, at the plate, he if Miggy wasn't Miggy, he'd be flirting with the Triple Crown. Like he was unfreaking believable. And if I keep seeing the Mike Trout slander, we're gonna have some freaking problems here pretty soon.
I haven't even seen that. But this is a good part of Trout's career right now, where he's staying healthy, which is nice, and racking up those big milestones, which you kind of want to see on the resume of a guy a Mike Trout-esque guy.
Yeah.
You want to see him rack up these monster milestones, which he is doing. And I think by the time the season ends, knock on wood, he stays healthy. But we'll see a guy who has 400 homers and 1,000 ribbies, amongst other things. But those are some big notable ones. And he's 33 or whatever. So then you hopefully, you want to see him get to 500, and that's the next big thing.
Yeah.
Plus, not to mention, you look at his team that he's on; they're 51 and 55. Not perfect. I don't know if he had high expectations for him, but we're starting to see the Angels trend in a certain way, which could be good for a veteran Trout who's racking up milestones and also wants to be chasing some rings and playoffs. Just go to the playoffs in general. I think he's only been to the playoffs like once in his life, and it was like a very short time, and they got bounced like right away. So more playoff opportunities for Trout. You want to see a guy like that constantly in the playoffs. You want to see him continue to rack up the milestones. That's where Trout seems to be right now, and it's cool to grow up on him and see how his career has shaped out. Shall we talk about trade deadline? This is the huge chunk of the episode, probably the huge chunk of the week, right? Because
we're going to be talking about this all week.
What's the 31st? Is that
I think it's Thursday.
Oh, no, it's a Friday, right? It's a Thursday.
It's Thursday, yeah.
Wow. So when we meet up, we'll do obviously what we have thus far, plus maybe a little bit of what we could be expecting. And then Wednesday, hopefully we have more big moves, and then we can do a little anticipation, because there could be some anticipation for Thursday, that is, because there's things where, depending on, teams might push it, the big name players like a Suarez, for example, they might push that to the last day of the deadline if they, and try to see what their best options are, and then literally wait till that Thursday to really send it.
Exactly. That's the one thing that I don't want to say worries me, but the one thing that normally happens with these big guys, these big names, is they want to get the best they can. So they're going to take as many phone calls, as many offers, everything on top of it. So We'll see what happens with some of these big names because the Diamondbacks, if they're shipping out their whole entire team, they really need to get some things in return.
Yeah, and let's talk about. I know we have that article from Jeff Passan. We actually alluded to that. I think on Wednesday we were like, we'll talk about this because that'll kind of touch on some of the team's needs and and we'll kind of talk about that too. Let's first start with where we what has actually happened over the weekend and up until now, because the first guy is a guy that Diamondbacks dealt, and we alluded to it earlier in the program with Josh Naylor. So we could talk about that because when Suarez gets dealt, right, plus Gallen and Merrill Kelly, and if they are going to take all these phone calls and make sure that they get the best bang for their buck, yes, you do want to bring in some notable offensive pieces, which I think is part of the reason. Well, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but it's part of the reason I think the Yankees went after and actually sent it with McMahon, because I think the asking price for Suarez was too damn high. And
yeah.
I think like a Spencer Jones entered the chat, and that's what Arizona, if you're Arizona, it makes sense you would ask that, because in this Josh Naylor deal, he goes to Seattle. In return, they got a lefty and a righty pitchers, that is. So now you're going to want to address the offense too. And I think these next moves that Arizona is going to be doing, the asking price for Suarez is going to be some notable offensive pieces, because they just got Ashton Izzy, who's a righty, and Brandon Garcia, who's a lefty. That was the Seattle move there.
Are those two bullpen guys, or are they starters?
I think they're starters. Don't know much about them. Don't even know what level they're in. They're prospects. One of them is like a number 13 prospect or 12 prospect. The other one's like a 16 prospect or whatever. So it doesn't really downplay what they could be or what their potential is. So I guess they're somewhat notable pitchers. Seattle also has a lot of pitchers to deal, and Seattle does a good job with developing pitchers. So maybe these guys could be names to look out for in the near future.
And also, I mean, we talked about Seattle. We were nervous they weren't going to do anything to help that lineup out. And look at that. Josh Naylor's having a good year.
A really good year.
Yeah, he's having a really good year. And to pair him now, give Cal Riley some protection. Not that he needs protection, apparently, because he's still hitting bombs. But, wow, get him a little help in that lineup. Mariners, we might want to watch outspin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So, and Texas, of course, has to do things too. They're tied. Texas and Seattle are tied. But Seattle did show a little bit of urgency now, right? And they're not a notorious like playoff goer. You know what I mean? They had like that 20-year drought of the playoffs. They broke that, some say curse, I say drought. They broke that drought in like 2021, I want to say, and they haven't been back since. So they're trying to punch their ticket to October. You feel like they have the team to do it. I don't think their pitching has been what they thought it would be or what they wanted it to be so far this year, but they have so many notables that, you go deep into the season, they have innings eaters. They have guys that are going to continue to go out. I mean, Brian Wu was the all-star, but when you looked at it on paper, you were like, oh, Gilbert could be that. Gilbert could have been a Cy Young, maybe my pick to win the Cy Young this year. Like Gilbert and fucking, Bryce Miller was coming off a good year. George Kirby, and you look at like Luis Castillo even. It's like, holy shit, like all these guys. Not to, I still think that I don't know how many they're going to continue to hold on to these guys. I don't fucking know. They've had injuries with it though. And now it's like, well, you roll into a playoff series and you still roll out these guys. I'd still be very nervous. So they have the pitching to do it. We knew that they had to address a type of middle of the order bat that could play first base. Our speculation was Ryan O'Hearn. And even though Ryan O'Hearn was the all-star this year and Naylor wasn't, Naylor I like a lot more.
Yeah, so Naylor's probably going to be a rental. Maybe he likes it out there and they end up re-signing him. I know his contract's up at the end of the year. But, I didn't even know Naylor was available, if I'm being completely honest. I had no idea. There was kind of not a whole lot of rumblings about it, but it does make sense. Diamondbacks probably think they could re-sign him because, like I said, he is a free agent at the end of the year. But hitting 292 with 59 ribbies on the year, 11 bombs, a good little piece for them. Good little piece who's going to get on base, going to drive some runs in and give some protection. So that's a good signing by the Mariners, who notoriously don't really do a whole lot at the deadline. So they kind of sense that they might have something there in Seattle. So good for them.
We'll see if they continue to do something. I mean, in a perfect world, if you're Seattle, you're probably looking at what boxes they could check. That they have the pitching. They know that they have a damn good closer. It's never a bad idea to get more bullpen. Like if they are really good at, they should be all in. You would assume that they're all in, especially after Naylor. So never a bad idea to get more bullpen pieces. And then I don't know, do you look at like some of these just depth pieces, someone who can like maybe play third or bounce around, but create depth for you, because Naylor's the big move. You could expect big things from J-Rod, and obviously you were getting big things from Cal Riley. It's not like they don't have those big motherfuckers. And then you kind of, scatter around with some nice supporting cast members. And maybe that's what they need, some depth, supporting cast members, and bullpen's never a bad idea. You don't have to. I think that Naylor could be the sexy move. Now you just build off of it, and they could really be somewhat dangerous down the stretch. So really good for Seattle, and I guess Arizona did the right thing. I guess they're content with it, right? I mean, no qualms.
Yeah.
They're going to continue to build off of it too in terms of being sellers, where it will be interesting to see if Seattle continues to build off of it in terms of being buyers. Let's talk about your buddy, Gregory Soto. Now the Mets have two guys named Soto, no relation, but Gregory Soto to the Mets came over from Baltimore for 2 minor leaguers.
Yeah, it's going to be Soto's going to be a guy who's going to be all over the place. He's a flamethrower. He doesn't have a whole lot of control, but when he has control, he looks really good. One-time All-Star, but guess what? Everybody's got to make it from a single team. But it's nothing really to like write home about. They got him for 2 minor leaguers, so they got him for like a cup of coffee. It's good. They add a little bit of depth and another arm. Like you said, bullpen's never a bad thing. And especially can't really say a whole lot of bad about the Mets right now, who are on a 7-game win streak.
Yeah, but we still want to say bad things about the Mets.
Yeah, keep the apple in the damn hole.
Yeah, we want to say bad things about the Mets, but they're kind of making it hard at the moment, being on a 7-game win streak. I mean, they got a whole ass week without losing, so that's pretty good. That's what a 7-game win streak is. Anyway, so Soto is going to add depth to this. You can never have too many bullpen pieces. I don't know if it's not like, I think the big sexy moves was like Naylor was a shock, and then McMahon to the Yankees were kind of like some of the bigger stuff. So you kind of maybe a guy like that Soto move gets overlooked because it's like a bullpen piece. That's like, okay, cool, but it's going to be important for them down the stretch. And they obviously are going to try to punch their ticket to October, and in order to do those things, it's bullpen matters. Okay, McMahon though to the Yankees is the thing I just alluded to. Come over from Colorado, of course, for 2 minor league pitchers. McMahon and the Yankees have kind of been in talks for a little bit now, like even before this season, like maybe the past year or two, at least last year. This was like something because he's kind of been a guy, obviously Rockies are sellers, and the Yankees have needed to address third base for some time. Last year at the deadline, they brought in Chisholm to play third, where Glaber was the second baseman, but Chisholm wasn't even a career third baseman. So the fact that they got third base production out of him, it worked for the time being, but I don't know if anyone saw that being the long-term fix. So obviously Chisholm now being a majority of second baseman this year. Plus when LeMahieu gets DFA'd, it opens the door that, hey, Chisholm's here, and now we seriously have to address third base. So everyone saw the Yankees getting a third base, and it was just a match. It was just a matter of who the hell it's going to be. I think a lot of people wanted Suarez. I don't know if people are mad at McMahon. Maybe they are, but it's an upgrade nonetheless. His defense is good. He's going to deepen a lineup. Lefty bat, don't know if that's great. I think the asking price for Suarez is too high. So it just really comes down to, if you're a Yankees fan, in terms of that asking price, do you want to give up Spencer Jones? Do you want to give up a lot of minor leaguers? Or do you do these 2 minor league pitchers that they get from McMahon, and it's an upgrade either way? I don't know.
Yeah, so the McMahon, when I first read it, I was like, oh wow, that's bad. I was like, that's not good. But then I saw who they sent for him, and I was like, it's not that bad of a move. They sent 2 minor league pitchers, and to be completely honest with you, Yankees don't really need a whole lot of pitching right now. Like they're in a good spot, I would say. I mean, I'll let you talk more of that, but they're in a decent spot, right? With that, you can never have too many arms. We always talk about it. You can never have too many arms, but they needed a third baseman more than they needed the arms. And Brian McMahon, we'll see what he does. He's not having the best year so far, but like you said, it's an upgrade nonetheless.
Yeah, and you could always say, oh, this guy's an all-star, and he made an all-star like 2 years ago, maybe it was last year. He was quiet. He made that all-star team, and he was quiet in the second half, and nothing spectacular this year. But his defense has been good, and we saw a little bit of it in that Philly series over the weekend. Made a couple of nice plays and had a couple of hits, two ribby double or whatever the hell he had over the weekend. So he's contributing early, so that's nice. And anytime there's a lefty, a guy hits lefty that comes to the Yankees, everyone says, oh, take advantage of the short porch. It's a good ballpark for him. So there's that aspect too. You can be optimistic. It's an upgrade nonetheless. So that's the big thing you want to hone in on. And it deepens the lineup. I would love him to bat like maybe 7th and then put Volpe in the 8th hole. But I think as of right now, Volpe's it's kind of been opposite. I think when he first came over to the Yanks, I think he was in Baltimore because the Rockies were in town for Baltimore. He took an Uber to the Bronx from Baltimore. So I don't know. That's a long Uber drive, I feel like. But either way, I think he was batting eighth that day when he first came over. I think the next thing for the Yankees is going to be pitching, though. That was the big thing with Suarez is do you package Zach Gallen with him? But again, the asking prices.
Do you want a starter or do you want a bullpen guy?
¿Por qué no los dos? Definitely a starter. I don't think the starting pitching is in that great of a spot. And someone we'll see early this week is Cam Schlittler, who has I kind of like this young guy. I like Schlittler. He's a flamethrower starter. Yankees don't have really any flamethrowers on their team, so Schlittler's really the only guy that like can consistently, maybe top out in like 100. Like Yankees don't really have that guy, even in their pen. Feels like a lot of teams have a flamethrower out of their pen. Yankees really don't. It's a lot of like change up splitter dudes. But I like Schlittler. I want to like Will Warren. You figure Fried and Rodon at the top of that rotation, and then I do think they need that extra piece. They really do. If they want to seriously take that next leap, it will be a pitcher. And I wouldn't hate for them to. I don't know what else they need is be pitching bullpen. I guess they address third base and wouldn't hate. Oh, you know who else they got? Let's do this one first. Ahmed Rosario. So let's stick with the Yankees.
Talk about him. That's the Nationals guy, right?
Yeah, Nationals, and they got him for 2 minor leaguers.
Yeah, so I mean that's 2. I guess they probably can platoon the guys because Ahmed's a righty, right?
Yeah.
So you go from not really having a single third baseman who you can trust to having 2 guys who I'm pretty sure Ahmed Rosario, I think I was reading, he hits pretty damn well against lefties.
That's his thing, yeah. That's
so there you go. If you want to platoon the 2 guys, Ahmed Rosario is like you said, we've talked about this. It's not really the big sexy move, but that's a sneaky move that helps you win in the long term.
Yeah, he's hitting 270 on the year. I don't hate it. He can also bounce around from position to position. Most likely to be a third baseman on this team. And like you said, platoon the guys. I think lefty on the bump. There's Rosario's day. So I don't hate it. And it creates depth to this team also. And guy who maybe I don't know how many 270 hitters the Yankees have currently, especially with Judge getting banged up. I know like Goldschmidt's been good and Bellinger's been good, and so 270, especially this day and age, period. But on the Yankees, a lot of times 270 looks very beautiful. I know. Maybe I value batting average more than most people, but I really like that. I like that. So a guy that can hit lefties well and bounce around the field and most likely be a third baseman on the days that McMahon gets the off day.
Yeah, so McMahon's hitting 207 against lefties while Rosario's hitting 299.
Nice.
That's what you need.
That's what you need. So hopefully that creates depth and versatility and guys that can kind of do it from either side of the dish. Valuable stuff down the stretch, nonetheless. And again, I think pitching from starters to bullpen, that's what's going to should be next on the agenda for the Yankees. We'll see who ultimately ends up going. Randall Grichuk to Kansas City. Now, I got to get my facts straight really quick, but it almost feels like it wouldn't be a trade deadline if a guy like Randall Grichuk didn't go somewhere. But he's another guy from Arizona to Kansas City. So another sneaky guy that I don't know if we really saw. He hasn't been like one of the big sexy guys in the desert. But he was a guy that was in Arizona. Now they deal him too, and I kind of liked it for Kansas City. We knew that they needed a corner outfield. He's a veteran guy, so why not?
Yeah, I feel like there might have been a little bit better options for Kansas City, but like you said, it's not the big sexy move. But they needed somebody, and I don't think they sent a whole lot over for him anyway.
Yeah. So what was it? Right-handed pitcher Andrew Hoffman, who I don't really know much about, and then a bit of a journeyman is Grichuk anyway. So has he been dealt at deadlines before? Maybe a little bit here and there.
Yeah, he was. They're actually saying he was almost a Royal in the offseason already, he lands there to begin with.
So they like him. Maybe he's just the guy. I don't know. Kansas City might not be one of those teams that's going to do like these gigantic blockbuster moves. I don't know. Last time they did that, I don't know. Was it James Shields in like an offseason?
Probably, yeah.
Or maybe Johnny Cueto. I mean, when they did that, they won the fucking World Series. So what do I know? But I mean, they're not really known for I guess these huge deadline big moves. Like, I don't know if they have a long list of it. So they just need some pieces to kind of plug in holes and add depth to this team. I think Grichuk's a fine left fielder. I'm not mad at it at all. They needed a corner outfielder. He's a veteran. I think he's been to, was he on the Diamondbacks team a few years ago? He's been around the block. He's seen some shit. He can add something to this team. Not totally mad at it. Let's stick with some dudes from fucking Missouri, huh? Because Eric Fetty from St. Louis to Atlanta. Now, I don't know if this matters at all, but he's just another guy that has come up.
I can't believe Atlanta's even making moves to like they're like, oh, we need pitching. I'm like, your season's over. Stop.
Yeah.
It was for cash, but
or
like
and a player to be named later or cat. So, but they're looking to build for next year. I mean, Sale's old now and he's hurt this year, and Ronaldo Lopez has been hurt this year. So, I think they maybe learned the hard way that
everybody's been hurt this year.
Yeah, Strider's been benched. Schwellenbach is currently, so they're learning the hard way, I guess, that nothing is you can have a good staff on paper, but nothing's going to be a given. And so why not add depth and try to build for next year? Because I don't think Atlanta now, if Ozuna gets dealt, maybe they try to address some things and maybe quote unquote clean house, and not totally clean house, but Ozuna's older and maybe you try to get pieces for him that can help you next year. So if they do stuff like that, I don't think this is a team that's going to be in the gutter for long. They could very well bounce back and be a good team and be a playoff team next year, even though they're miserable this year.
I mean, Eric Fetty is 3-10 on the year with a 5.22 ERA.
Yeah, Fettuccine, dude. Okay,
yeah.
Don't hate on Fettuccine. I don't know if this matters at all, and I guess St. Louis is maybe they're making room for somebody. They're one game above 500. Love to see St. Louis maybe be more aggressive in terms of being sellers, because I do think they should be sellers, but maybe I don't know what types of pieces they can even get or build off of, or what they even need, to be honest.
They're still 3.5 games out of the wild card, so they still have a chance. But I remember us talking. There were a lot of teams who we didn't know if they were going to become sellers, if they were going to become buyers, or they were going to stay the same. And we said it all depended on how they feel at the deadline. Well, Cardinals are 3-7 in their last 10. 3.5 games out of the wild card, 9 games back in the division. In my eyes, you become sellers.
Yeah, I think they should have been sellers for a little while now. I like to see them be. Well, there was a time where they won like whatever it was, like that crazy win streak they went on. They really haven't looked back in the sense of they started out under 500, go on that crazy win streak, pretty much have been over 500 ever since that win streak happened. They got over 500, they stayed over 500, but now look at them, fourth place. Cincinnati looks really good. The other two teams look really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. They got to – but we'll just see how aggressive they ultimately end up being. And I feel like pitching is something that they do need, and if Fettuccine had to go, maybe that's a little bit of them cleaning house in a sense, because if Fetty – you read his stats, that's not very sexy. You got some decent outings out of him, so he's shown potential, but, hey, fuck it. Maybe you got a player to be named later. Maybe you get some cashish for the guy.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, maybe we'll see a guy like Arenado dealt.
Maybe.
Or Ryan, like Helsley's probably –
Helsley – Yeah. I guess we should dive into this next thing.
Yeah,
but I mean, it seems more likely than I feel like Arenado is a lot of big price for a guy that just doesn't really. And I love Arenado, but let's face it, he's not
exactly. I mean, Helsley's the sexiest one they have there to send, but it will be interesting.
Hey, you know what I've heard? I heard Yankees and Brendan Donovan.
Really?
Perhaps.
Huh.
You never could be too sure. You never know, but he's a name that has come up. And you know what that is? There's always like, oh, Yankees have shown interest in Brendan. It's like, well, it's not like he's like an all-star second baseman. Of course, people are interested,
Yeah, and the Phillies have shown interest in Shohei Ohtani, too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're going to show interest in fucking good players, like, of course. But, yeah, we'll see if that's a thing with Brendan Donovan, because he was their lone all-star this year. So we'll see, that means the asking price could be high. So,
yeah, it will be. If they go and ask for...
Plus, what's he fucking hitting? You're going to sell him as a guy who's hitting 288 on the season and was a fucking all-star and can also bounce around.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But if we want to get into our GOAT, Jeff Passan to his friends, he came out with we talked about this on Wednesday. He did it's a 2025 MLB trade deadline preview, Passan's intel on every team. So we're going to go through it a little bit, touch on the interesting ones, kind of see what goes about with this. So the first one on the list was the Yankees. To give you guys a little preface, I don't know what that is, but he listed if teams were like all in, all out kind of thing, like will they do anything? He's got them all in like different categories and stuff like that. But for the all in, the Yankees were number one on the list. His best fit was Eugenio Suarez. We obviously know that's not happening now with the sign of Ryan McMahon and an Ahmed Rosario. So we can kind of move on from that. Their biggest needs were third baseman, starting pitching, and relief pitcher. So we'll see where would they go with that now as well. But then we get to the Cubs, and he's got them in all in as well. Biggest need being a starting pitcher and a third baseman. I don't know how much about the third baseman anymore because Matt Shaw, since the All-Star break, has looked like a freaking beast. I don't know if you've taken note to him as of late. Mark DeRosa, the boy on MLB Network, did a breakdown on his stance right now, and he changed it, and he's been hitting. So he's been, I think he's having a little bit of a power surge, maybe not much, but
Yeah,
still.
he's got 3 homers his last 7 days, hitting 400 in that span.
Yeah, so, I mean, the third baseman, they might have figured it out, but they still might go for him. Definitely their biggest need. It's been all year. It's been starting pitching, and he believes the best fit for him is Mackenzie Gore. Spin.
See, that's a little nuts for me.
I don't know if Mackenzie Gore is going to be dealt. I don't think the Nationals would do that. You know what I mean? But if Jeffrey's got some intel, that'd be wild.
Yeah. Now, is this like what he thinks is the best fit, or like I don't like what is this? Like, is that I don't fucking know. Like maybe he just likes it. Maybe he's just like looking at it as like a fantasy owner. He's like, you know what? If I was this, I like this guy. Like I don't know. You know what I mean? But I feel like he's more he does shit based on like his more educated than that shit. He's not just throwing shit at a wall.
Yeah, exactly.
But either way, now you hear things that Eugenio Suarez, any team that needs a third baseman and Suarez is on the trade block, well, he's going to enter the conversation, which would be nuts. Now Shaw is doing well, so maybe they aren't as I don't know. I don't know. Shaw to roll with him is a risk.
Yeah.
Maybe more look at him as a guy who can be your guy moving forward. If the whole Suarez thing doesn't,
if something doesn't work out, they have something to fall back on.
It's something, more so like that. And plus, I think Shaw can bounce around a little bit more. The infield, maybe you look at him as like a versatile off the bench piece for the playoffs, who can kind of bounce around any infield position. Where Suarez would be such an established third baseman and seriously deep in this lineup, plus a right-handed bat kind of maybe in the middle of a PCA and Tucker, or what have you, or a Michael Busch. You know what I mean? Like they have all these big lefties. Mackenzie Gore, speaking of lefties, though, is another thing I don't like. I kind of like them to go. So a Gore seems very unlikely to be dealt. I also think I would go after a guy who is, I mean, again, everyone has a price. So for the right price, I could see it. But that's 3 lefties. You roll into the playoffs with what? Imanaga, Boyd, and Gore in some order. I think they have to get a righty to separate Boyd and Imanaga, put a right-handed pitcher, even if it's Alcantara. I think his change of scenery is good for him. I don't know how much anyone else loves that idea, given the current state of how Alcantara's been pitching. But Gore, just to roll with 3 lefties like that, I just don't know. Plus, I also don't know how available he even is. I'd rather get a more available righty that you can just kind of check off that box and then maybe worry about other things.
Yeah, so he did notate in here Gore, but he also in his little blurb underneath it talked about Joe Ryan and Mitch Keller.
Okay, so I like Mitch Keller a lot too.
Yeah, so I think Mitch Keller would probably be the best one because your asking price probably isn't too high for a Mitch Keller. Like the Pirates front office is absolutely atrocious, so you could probably trick them into getting something pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think they do value Keller high. Now, Joe Ryan was the All-Star this year, and I think he's just been a little bit more
Mitch Keller's looked good this year.
Mitch Keller's been good, but I think they value him high.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what that is. I can actually maybe I'll be so curious to see what the asking price would even be on that, because they're in a similar spot as the Nationals, where it's like, they're really trying to bring in fucking guys. I just don't know if the Pirates are good at it.
Yeah, so next, while we're on Mitch Keller right now, the next one's the Blue Jays, and they're definitely all in this year, and their biggest needs is all pitching, starting and relief. His number one best fit was Mitch Keller for the Blue Jays, which I do like.
I don't hate that either. Again, never took too much pitching. I don't hate their pitching, and Scherzer fucking dealt yesterday, like 11 Ks and a quality start.
Mm-hmm.
They lost that game though. Either way, Scherzer looked really good, but even still, Scherzer's kind of like more so on the outside looking in on this staff. I mean, I like Bassett, I like Gauze, but I like Berrios. I don't think any of them have been holy shit blow you out of the water this year, but they've all been reliable and I guess just reliable, and somewhat consistent. I don't know if anyone's gonna like jump off a page and be like, oh, like this is like our Crochet, this is our Freed. I don't know if it's like that, but it's like we have 3 guys that we could seriously rely on any given day. Plus you throw in Eric Lauer, who's been really fucking good, and Scherzer, who just deepens it and gives you that intensity. So I kind of like their pitching. Relieving, of course, you need. Now, if they were to get Keller, I mean, no one's going to fucking complain. It would just make everything better. Relieving, I do like, and I kind of like. I would think that they'd be more keen on getting offensive pieces. I mean, the Addison Bargers look good, maybe like Ernie Clement or Dennis Schneider, but at the same time, it's like, do we trust these guys long term? It's been good when it's been good, it's been great, and you've been getting really good contributions from these guys. But I mean, I guess maybe you look for Santander to come back and be a big piece. I don't know. Maybe they feel like they have some holes filled, position player wise. I just don't know how comfortable or confident I am in rolling with some of these supporting cast members. I think at least someone to do something could just add depth to the lineup. But hey, guess what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They look really good right now. So
yeah. And next is to the Phils. Biggest need is outfield and relief pitcher. His best fit was Emmanuel Clase. I would love to have Emmanuel Clase on my team. Would freaking love it. We need pitching just as bad as we need offense. It's like 1A, 1B. Because if I have to watch Kepler, Rojas, and Rojas taking at bat again, I'm going to gouge my freaking eyes out. And then on top of it, our bullpen, if I have to watch Jordan Romano or Joe Ross throw another freaking ball, I'm going to also lose my mind. So they need it. They have their holes are so glaring. It's so apparent, but here's also something I've been seeing interviews with Dave Dombrowski, John Middleton, all saying we think we have the team. We don't know if we need to make any moves. Like everybody's asking prices too high. We're not going to do anything. And I'm like, God damn it. For the love of God, will you please just go get somebody? We have no idea what our team's going to look like next year. Rangers up for contract. Schwarber's up for contract. JT's up for contract. Fuck, man. I'm fully in I don't give a shit about the farm system anymore. You need to go get somebody. I don't care. If you have to send Painter, if you have to send Miller, go fucking get somebody. And because we need to win now. We need to win now. You have to take the fucking risk.
Yeah, you're right. I think there's both ways you look at it. I think they're in such an interesting spot. Even if they don't do huge, in terms of quantity to that pen, because I feel like you could benefit from a few arms out of the pen.
Yeah.
Even if they don't go the quantity route, but they go quality and get a established guy for the back end, or especially for the ninth, like a Clase, and maybe there's some other closers out there too. If they get an established guy for the ninth and really address that issue, and then come playoff time, they transition some guys to like long reliever roles and use arms in various ways. That could at least be something. But bottom line, we talked about this like last week. Bottom line is you have to address the back end of that bullpen. You need an established guy for like at least the ninth inning, at least. And then if you can I don't even know if you even trust Romano or what happens.
No, you don't. You don't trust Romano.
At least that would maybe lessen his role to a seventh inning guy. I don't even like him for the eighth. I just don't even like him at all. But it's you don't like him for the ninth.
I want Romano and Kepler DFA'd by Thursday. Like I'm Marco. I'm so serious right now. And Joe Ross. Actually, you can throw Joe Ross in there too. I don't care anymore. Get him the fuck up. Kepler has been getting booed in Philly for the past month. Every single it's horrible. I can't Kepler, and then he comes out with the comments. Well, if I was playing every day, I'd be doing better. You never gave us a reason to play every day because you suck every time you play. So I'm at a loss for words. Otto Kemp, multi-home run game, though, yesterday. We love Otto. Automatic. But also what he said in here, we have like a guy like Cade Smith from the Guardians.
Sure.
Or maybe packaging like a Johan Duran and a Griffin Jacks.
Yep.
Which gives you two arms instead of one. Always good. They have brought up a lot about Luis Roberts. He has been the talk of the town, really. He's been the number one guy I've heard a lot about for the Phillies. You seem to like him. I'm a little iffy on him. He would be an upgrade. He would 100% be an upgrade. Hit for power, can steal some bags, plays a good defense as well. But he's having a down year. Maybe a change of scenery would help him out a little bit. I just don't want to send a package and then this guy come over here and just suck.
Yeah, I was actually watching a Hunter Brody clip on no, not Hunter Brody. Is that his name, Hunter Brody?
Yeah.
So I was watching a clip of him kind of talking about the outfield stuff, and O'Neal Cruz had entered the conversation too, which I don't know if that's good. I would lean Robert out of the two. But again, I think, and his verbiage was like he doesn't necessarily love the guys that are like project guys. You know what I mean? Like I think there are levels to this shit. Like I say, if you, now this could be a little more rigorous, but in a perfect world, and it's not our fucking money. So if it's Quan and Duran is plan A, that would seriously address left field. And then if the asking price is too high and you can't land one of those guys, then you go to a Robert or O'Neal Cruz, and then at least it's an upgrade. And maybe the asking price for Robert, like his trace value, has diminished over the last few years. So maybe that's something nice. He's also a better defender than O'Neal Cruz. He's also a righty, which I think is a little bit better right now. And he's a Gold Glover in his rookie season. We've seen glimpses of it. O'Neal Cruz, don't think it's been very consistent. Robert hasn't been super consistent when he was at his best a few years back. He got MVP votes and was an all-star, hit like 38 home runs. This year, power's taken a dip, but he does have that ability. Right now, he steals bases and plays a good defense. What's different than Rojas already does? Do you want to, if there's a little bit of a risk there, what's the asking price? If it's not a big asking price, send it. Fuck it. It would be an upgrade. I just think right now he could be seen as a glorified Rojas, just in terms of he's a defensive stolen base guy with a low batting average. I mean, but the ceiling is there, right? But the risk is also there.
The ceiling, that's the one thing you're trading for is his ceiling, because we know it's high. We know he's been that guy in the past, but is he still that guy? He hasn't shown it.
That's right. It's high risk, high reward, and it's similar with O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz seems a little more far fetched.
No, I don't want O'Neal Cruz.
That is a guy that has entered the conversation at the very least. But they're high risk, high reward guys. I think Steven Kwan should be priority number one, and then if you can't really land Kwan, because that would be a left fielder, and then maybe So either way, it has to be center or left. I would maybe look at a left fielder. I think Steven Kwan would be great. You give up a shit ton for him.
My number one would to be, hopefully you could get a Class A and Quan package. That's asking for a lot. Like, obviously the Guardians are going to want our entire farm system. They're going to want every single person whoever's put on a Piggies uniform. With that being said, I think Quan's contract he signed a 1 year. So I think he's done after this year. So that's a huge rental you're basically going to get, because you don't know if you're going to re-sign him. And we already have a whole lot of contract things.
What if you just didn't re-sign Castellanos and then you rolled with Quan?
Well, Cassie's got 1 more year.
Oh, does he have 1 more year?
Yeah. It's Schwarber. We have to worry about this offseason. Class A is locked up for a little bit, though. So we'd have Class A for a little bit longer. But they're gonna come in. They're gonna want Painter. They're gonna want Crawford. They're gonna want probably McAble. They're gonna want Aiden Miller probably in there too. And this is going to be an extremely bold take, and I will get ripped for this. Probably, I am okay with sending Painter. I said it. I'm fine. Get rid of Painter. I get that Wheeler's done in 2027. I understand that Nola's getting up there in age and stuff like that. We need to win now. Now, dude. I'm fine. Send Painter. I do not care. He is not having the greatest outings in AAA right now. He's not. I see every now and again he's getting lit up. Granted, he's a young guy, but they're holding this guy to these highest standards. He should be dominating down there. So I'm kind of, if you can get Clase and Quan, you send Painter.
Yeah, they're in a unique situation, man. It's they do have to have a little sense of urgency. They have to win now. At the same time, because if you don't win now, then when? That's been the question for years now. So if not now, then when? You have to have that urgency. At the same time, you look at who your core guys are, and they're all like in their mid-30s or some shit like that. And you look at, okay, Schwarber, contract year. Castellanos got like a year, and he's also in his mid-30s. You talk about JT, a contract year, like mid-30 guy. You talk about like Trey Turner, not on a contract year, but we know what his contract looks like. So all these guys are the superstars of the core of this team in their mid-30s with interesting contract shit. Either it's coming up and you may or may not re-sign them, or you have Turner to these like fucking 53. Then it's like, well, you know what I mean? So there's these interesting contracts of guys who are not necessarily young right now, and maybe having that farm system and that young core coming up is Do they go that, do they find that more beneficial and not maybe there's a way to go all in without really but you have to also have urgency and really be all in this year. So there's such a unique situation, and they have to do something pretty drastic. And if it's not the biggest name in the world for and even like I'm throwing Luis Robert in the mix. Like I know his production doesn't look good, but he's a big name, and it would be an upgrade. Even if it's nothing like the blow you away move in the outfield, you have to start blowing people away with the moves for the bullpen. You have to.
Yeah, and since I said that, I wanted to make sure I could back up my argument. Painter's sporting a 4.82 ERA in AAA right now.
Damn.
So I don't even know how much what his asking price is, because he's been ranked, pretty high in prospect standings for a long time. So maybe that holds a little bit of weight, but he's not backing it up in AAA right now. He's young. We get it. We don't like to jump out of our shoes for any of these guys, but that's why I'm okay with sending him. If he turns out to be an ace and a guy later down the line, that's fine. We need to win now.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's get to the next guy, Seattle, because this is we talked about it already.
He hit the nail on the head. Shout out Jeff.
He really hit the nailer here. Yeah.
Yeah. Josh Naylor to Seattle. Don't really got to touch on it. We talked a whole lot, but Jeff was right on point with that one.
Well, let's look at their biggest needs for just a second. So again, relief pitcher comes up. That's going to be a lot of contending teams' needs, or whatever. Never a bad idea to do that. But third base also, and anytime we're going to talk about it, anytime a third base comes up to it, and Eugenio Suarez is still on the trade block, his name is going to enter that conversation. And he has some run-ins with Seattle, right? Before he was a Diamondback, he was a Mariner. So maybe he has some connections there. Maybe they like him.
Can Josh Naylor play the corners, or is he just a first baseman?
No, just first.
Just first baseman? Okay. I was not sure. So
third looks like maybe like Dylan Moore, Polanco. Maybe there's another dude.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But yeah, he notes in here he's got like a Willie Castro and a Ryan O'Hearn maybe as well. So
still valuing Ryan, which I don't know how much outfield he plays. He has in the past. Also, DH is another lefty bat, and I like Castro. Castro's incredibly versatile and maybe a switch hitting bat. So love that versatility, and because that's what we kind of talked about before. Naylor's the big sexy move, and then after that, if you just touch on relief pitching and maybe get some cutesy pieces here and there, versatility, depth, maybe that's really what the deadline looks like for them right now.
So next we get into our other one. It's called All Out. The first one on the list is Rockies' biggest need, talent, which could not be more of the truth, but they don't really have anybody they can send right now. The Rockies are kind of going to be a bust. Like Doyle, he sucks this year. You can't even really send much for him.
They're in a bad spot.
I really don't have much to say about
bad spot. They're in a bad spot. Yeah. Fuck
Next is White Sox, All Out. Biggest need, pretty much everything. Great wording there, Jeff. Best asset is Luis Robert. So if they play their cards right, they could get some pretty good guys back here for Luis Roberts. But it's going to be interesting to see. We've talked about it a lot already. I don't know if you have any more to say about it.
Yeah, it's just so they're in a bad spot too, and they're a better spot than Colorado. It just shows you how bad Colorado's spot is. But for a team that's all out, and the best asset is obviously Robert, but I think his trade value has diminished greatly, and that's the big thing on him. So if he's your best asset, then the asking price might be big, and because you value him high and you know what he could be, but he hasn't been that, so teams don't want to give up a lot for him. So maybe does he even go? That begs the question: does he even go at all, or do they hold out another year and try to raise his trade stock, similar to what we talked about with Sandy Alcantara?
I think that one he just did, the article you sent me, he had Luis Robert at like a 50% chance of getting traded. So
I think Sandy was
it's been 50-50 for the past 6 years. So
yeah, I mean, who knows? When he was really good, maybe the White Sox valued themselves as a team better, and it was like, well, we hold on to him, yada yada. And then last year they clearly weren't that team. It was all downhill pretty much after they held on to Luis about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Historically bad team last year, and then really still bad. But either way, maybe there's some signs of a little bit of going on in the South Side. I think maybe it's just an illusion because anything would have been better than last year. They're still bad, but who knows? We'll see. The manager shit. I think it's Will Venable. He seems to have turned that team around a little bit. I think that they're in better shape than Colorado, but Colorado's in terrible shape. Well, how about this? The White Sox are in bad shape, still better shape than Colorado. That's
Yeah.
true.
Pirates are the next one. All out. Biggest need, offense. For everyone's sake, please, just a little offense. Jeff getting clever with it. Best assets, Mitch Keller. He notates that Paul Skeens and O'Neill are not going anywhere. But they got a lot of arms that they could sell. You talked about a Bednar, Mitch Keller, Dennis Santana. You could get all of those for just a smidge of off. If you pair just a little bit of offense with that pitching they have going on over there, I mean, they're going to be unbelievable. You got Jones coming back next year, Bubba Chandler coming up through the pipeline. They just ranked Connor Griffin, that shortstop they have, the 19-year-old, as the number one prospect in baseball right now. So the Pirates' future looks pretty damn good, right? But you need some offense to get for these pitchers.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't do more shit in terms of trying to clean house. Like I don't know, I feel like some guys they have, no one's gonna really jump off a page, to you, but just something that could anything to just be like a piece. Like you don't like. I mean, I maybe it's easy for me to say because I don't give a shit about half these guys. But like, who's that catcher that just doesn't even like is anything? That was their one of one pick.
I don't remember.
Henry Davis, like
yeah, Henry Davis.
They like him. They're holding out. Like I don't know. Like I would a catcher that maybe has a high ceiling, just not working out in this organization. Is that maybe that's crazy to even suggest. I don't know, but or like an IKF. Like none of these guys are going to jump out a page, but IKF who can play anywhere, who's versatile, who can bounce. I mean, obviously he could certainly come up. He's just not the biggest asset, but a lot of anything to kind of clean house and bring in guys via a trade deadline and at least set yourself up to be a spot where maybe guys want to sign in an off season at the very least. Maybe they have the I think they have more pieces than teams like for a last place team who's in a similar, you're going to put all the last place teams in the same boat. White Sox, Rockies, Pirates, those are kind of the worst teams you think of. And they're in a spot where I feel like they have a little bit more talent, or I don't know if talent, I mean, a little bit.
I would say talent.
I would say that too, like at least over the teams like White Sox and the Rockies. Out of those three, Pirates seems like they actually have pieces that teams might want, And I think obviously if Mitch Keller's at the helm of it, but other than that, I'm probably doing so many things at the deadline and just at least trying to set myself up to be a team that players actually would want to sign to in an offseason. Because right now, who the fuck wants to sign there and no one wants to sign to fucking play at Pittsburgh. At least at a trade deadline, you bring guys in via trade. They have really no choice but to go there because it's like, hey, that's where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit you touched on it there. They need to get active. They need to get active. As point blank, they need to do something. But last all out is the Nationals. Not really sure how much they're going to do. They obviously want to get some pieces around their big ones. He says their best assets, Mackenzie Gore, but then he immediately notates trading Gore is a long shot. So
I wonder why maybe if Finnegan enters the conversation.
I think Finnegan is their number one that they could get rid of. Maybe even like a Mike Soroka, getting rid of him as well, kind of thing. But next one, Arizona Diamondbacks. Just how much will they subtract? He says. Biggest need is pitching. Best asset, Eugenio Suarez. Obviously, we know. They are going to get rid of. They're going to get rid of Suarez most likely. Probably Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly as well. This team is going to look completely different come Thursday.
And so those three you said, and we've been talking about it the whole time because remember you saw Naylor already and Randall Grichuk. Let's not forget about Randall.
And so, he even notates like a guy like Alec Thomas. They're like backup outfielder too, just getting rid of him as well. So,
see another team that's. These are valuable guys, like for contending teams, like even an Alec Thomas, like or a Grichuk, kind of maybe more under the radar dudes, but like for a contending team, you're looking to bring in depth, or Thomas is a left-handed hitter and Grichuk, veteran guy. Like these are some of the things that contending teams, are going to want to see value in. So not mad at it there, but yeah, how much will they subtract? Probably a fuck ton, Jeff. What do you think?
But I definitely I think this team's going to look completely different come Thursday. Next, Twins, same boat. Just how much will they subtract? Biggest need is infielders. Best asset being Johan Duran. He does notate that Joe Ryan as well is in there, but then he has like a Castro, also a Brock Stewart. Yeah, so yeah, he has those guys in there. He did mention that they do have some people coming up through the pipeline. Walker Jenkins, a Luke Keishel too. Uh, but I think that the Twins aren't going to look completely different, but probably getting rid of Duran and like a Griffin Jacks, maybe even selling
Yeah.
Joe Ryan as well. This team could really help themselves out if they play their cards right.
Yeah. I like. I'm a Joe Ryan advocate. We'll see what happens with him. He's having a damn good season. I'll see the asking prices, but that's actually the big thing too, right? So obviously they're going to want infielders, and I mean they have some tough luck with some of these infielders. I really like Willie Castro. I mean, because you think about the Twins, you think of like Royce Lewis, and that has been a whole thing with him, keeping him on the field. But yeah, I mean, they tried to do that when they were really good this year. When they went on a win streak earlier, I mean, they were getting some good production from like a Ty France say. So like they tried to touch on some issues in the past, but like Eduardo Julian or whatever, who I don't know really fell off the face of the earth. Maybe he's been hurt all year, but like he was a guy that had showed promise as a power hitting second baseman. Never really. He's still young. I don't know. I just haven't heard his name at all. So maybe he's banged up. Either way, they've tried to do some things, never really hit the fan. This could be the trade deadline for them because you talked about it. Two guys in the pen, Duran and Jax, both valuable, and every contending team wants bullpen. Joe Ryan, every contending team wants pitching. Could be good. And Willie Castro, I would assume most he plays every position. I would assume most contending teams would want that versatility.
The next one is the Guardians. I don't want to talk about this too much because we talked about Quantum Class A already a whole lot. What sucks for the Guardians, and he notated in this article, is that they really suck at this kind of thing. Like they got rid of Junior Caminero and Yordan Alvarez as well. Two guys who turned out to be, well, pretty damn good. So they might be a little bit more cautious with everything, but hopefully they can get some prospects in return.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much they subtract, and they have notables to do it. So we'll see.
Yeah, Padres. Will they deal from the MLB roster to improve? Biggest needs: catcher, outfield, starting pitcher, best asset, Robert Suarez, best fit, Luis Robert. I can see them going after Luis. A lot of people have been also talking about Jarren Duran. I don't know if they're going to get rid of him, but their best asset to send out is probably a Dylan Cease.
Which is kind of nuts. Well, maybe it's nuts, maybe it's not nuts. I'm not a huge Cease fan, but yeah, we had to see what they look like. And from the pitching side of things, I know Darvish just came back, but I'm not like putting all my eggs in Darvish. And maybe they like Pivetta and they like King, and they say, hey, if we get some guys for Cease, maybe that could really be a fine staff for playoff time. We'll see. Bullpen has been pretty good all season for them. Suarez may be trending down if he's a guy that they deal. I don't know who's the next man up. I feel like they have arms in that pen, but we'll see. Outfield will be interesting. I don't hate a little middle infielder for them, or like a guy that can bounce around. Remember we talked about IKF on this team. Not necessarily a starter per se. You still have Machado, Bogarts, Cronenworth bouncing around, Arias bouncing around. They have oh my God, who's that guy? Iglesias.
Yes,
he made a nice play at short the other day, behind the back glove flip. But like they have those types of pieces, but I wouldn't hate maybe like a guy who's like younger to bounce around and be a guy off the bench. And it seems like the shortstop position is kind of old for them. So we'll see.
But next, he's starting to question a lot. Like, will they actually the rest of these guys, or will they going to make moves, kind of thing? So we can speed through some of these uninteresting ones and then talk about more of the interesting ones. Giants will be interesting. We both have been in the ballpark that Buster Posey actually wants to get something done. Jeff thinks they need starting pitching and a second baseman spin.
Starting pitching, sure. I think their bullpen actually been really good. So, okay, so maybe they have a lot of relievers, and of course, we always say relievers, contending teams. That's everything down the stretch. So that's who their best asset is, Tyler Rogers, and they have a lot of arms to be dealt out of the pen. Yes, he gets some guys for them. Best fit, Zach Littell, lefty out from Tampa Bay. Cool. That's cool. I mean, they did give up some arms in that Devers trade. I don't know if they were like, holy shit, blow you away arms. I forget.
Jordan Hicks.
Yeah, Kyle Harrison and whatever it was. So, yeah, plug in some holes there. I mean, Verlander, if he's like your number 3 right now, yes, you don't really want to stroll into the playoffs. But top of the rotation looks good. Ray and Webb, or Webb and Ray, however you want to say it. But yeah, again, maybe Zach Littell fits the mold nicely. And they are similar to the Padres, some of the more interesting teams, I think, for this deadline, because Padres have their own unique issues and their unique situations. The Giants, it's like, yeah, okay, starting pitching never hurt nobody. Second baseman, sure. Realistically, though, on paper, they look all right. I don't know if they're producing at the moment.
Yeah, the Giants, I think Posey could actually do it. Devers he hasn't put that jolt to the offense like they needed. Next is the Red Sox. They're in the same kind of boat. Will they send anybody? Will they not? Will they stand firm? Will they go get somebody to help their starting rotation? Jeff is not hearing any rumblings of a large-scale move, apparently.
Yeah, maybe their big move was just dealing Devers and trying to be this young team with a more not drama-filled clubhouse or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm speculating, but let's face it, Devers did bring a lot of drama when he kind of ended on that type of note. So either way, however they feel like they are, maybe they kind of exhaled after the Devers thing in a sense and saying, okay, well, now we know what we're doing. It's going to be young guys and it's going to be by Devers. And when Bregman comes back, which he is currently back, and he hit a home run yesterday, and it's like, okay, well, there we go. Pitching, of course, you do need. I was higher on Tanner Houck to start the year. I thought they were going to look good with Crochet, Houck, and then maybe like a Brian Bello has showed some glimpses in the past. I was like, not terrible. Plus, back end guys can just be back end guys and do their jobs, and not a terrible staff. Well, Houck looks like shit, and he fucking got hurt. Bello hasn't been the guy. You know who has been good? Lucas Giolito. So, and of course Crochet. So yeah, top of the line arm. If it is Joe Ryan, I kind of can see that too, which is I hate that because I like Joe Ryan. I hate to see him go there. But if it was like a Crochet, Joe Ryan, Giolito looks really good. And then maybe that puts Bello on the back end. Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
So we still have a lot to get through this article, and we're sneaking up on the 1:30 mark spin. Do you want to skip some of these guys and then just kind of go to like the interesting contenders?
Just go through go to the interesting ones.
All right, so let's skip down. We'll go to the Tigers. Team that's been struggling as of late. Biggest need is relief pitching and some help in that starting pitching rotation, he says. Nothing in the lineup. The best fit would be David Bednar from Pittsburgh. He thinks they're going to add, but they're not all in this year. They probably don't want to get rid of a whole lot, if I'm being honest, but definitely getting some help in that bullpen would be huge for them.
It would be nice. Yeah. I mean, they have a guy, Will Vest, that's actually been really good for them. They get some weird production out of bullpen guys. Like they've been able to do that in the past, and Bednar would literally just be them capitalizing on something. I don't even hate if they get more. I mean, they don't need anything offensively, I feel like, but when you look at their lineup on paper, I'm just like,
yeah, can't believe these guys are doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Next is the Brewers. I don't want to talk about a whole lot because they never really actually make moves. But the move he has in here is something that I really like. Maikel Garcia.
I love Maikel.
All-star. I don't know if the Royals would be willing to part ways with him, but wow, that would be a fantastic move for the Brewers if they could pull that off.
He fits the mold of that team really nicely. Kind of a scrapper, steals bases, and he does play a lot of positions. He pretty much play anywhere in the infield. He's played outfield too. He fits the mold of that team.
The Dodgers, I swear to God, if they land anybody high and notable, I'm going to be so freaking pissed. So I'm not talking about them.
Well, it is funny, though, that relief pitching might be something that they're looking to get, which, of course, makes sense. You always want to touch on that, but it feels like that they've been touching on that for quite a while now. And
they can't find anybody that can stay healthy.
Yeah, if it just feels like that's been their thing. So, yeah, maybe they just go the
dude, in reality, they could go get Jax. They could get Duran. They could probably even get Clase. They could get Bautista. They have so many. They're willing to part ways with their prospects because they know they can just sign people. Yeah. So, like, they can get rid of their prospects for a guy like Helsley. They can go get Clase. They can put a package together for Clase. Bautista over in the Orioles, they could send these guys all out and be completely fine for the next couple of years. The next is the Astros. Same thing, adding but not all in. Best fit being Cedric Mullins, which that's kind of wild. I love my guy Jake Myers out in center, so I hope they don't do this. But They might.
We'll see how where they move guys around. I mean, the way that Myers is playing, he's done a damn good job of making sure he stays in the lineup. But you do need that lefty bat. I guess when I don't know Jordan's status, but he'll be a lefty for you, a nice power hitting lefty. Mullins for his low batting average this year, but I think he's very quietly going to flirt with the 2020 season. What is he at? 14 homers and 14 stolen bases. So still got 2 months to flirt with 2020 season, which is a nice little season. And he's a left-handed bat and does a little bit of both of those things. He'd be an asset to a team that, especially if you need a left-handed bat and some depth.
Yeah, and then the Mets, same needs as actually the Phils. Relief pitching, and he says center field, not just outfield. He thinks the best fit's Griffin Jacks. If they get some relievers in there to help Edwin Diaz out, even though I think Edwin Diaz is a piece of shit, he is a good closer for them. If they can get some relief pitching, this Mets team's going to be scary because we know they're doing it all right now. And if they can fill the holes that they have to, watch out.
Yeah, they already did the move for Soto, and then you figure you're good at the corners because of the other Soto. That's Juan. I was talking about Gregory before, and then Nimmo on the other side, who's having a very good season. And you look at this, that's center field, address that issue. Third base, they've been trying to fill that hole for a long time. They thought they had a guy with Vientos.
I thought they had a guy with Vientos, and he just hasn't done it.
Not really this year, like at all, 226, but maybe that's not at the top of their priority. Maybe they'd rather take care of business bullpen wise and look at center field. And if they have to address third base, they will. But if not, then they'll be like, hey, Vientos got a taste of the postseason last year. He was good. So maybe we just, if we can't get a third base, then it's that. Because there's no way in fuck they get Suarez.
No, absolutely not.
No way.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't. We just put that out there. I really hope that doesn't happen.
Oh, it's not happening. It's not. But I only said that because my original point was any team that needs a third baseman is going to be trying to look at Suarez. I don't fucking see the Mets doing it though. I see more like Seattle or definitely maybe the Cubs, most likely. I don't know. Maybe the Reds. No, maybe not the Reds. Not the
The
Reds.
Rangers. This one, I'm only saying this one because how well they have been. Because for a while we thought they might be sellers, but Marcell Ozuna is who he's got on there for him, giving him a bat in that lineup. I know Marcel's been hurt this year. Braves got to get rid of some people. That might happen, Spin.
We'll see. Yeah, I kind of like this fit a lot. That's funny. The biggest needs are things like DH and first base. Two of the things that they've addressed in the offseason, both of those things have not worked out for them. So, yeah, a big bat like that in Ozuna. Like it. Maybe a change of scenery is good.
All right. So this next category is called subtracting, but not completely. I'm going to list the best assets that these guys have, and I want you to tell me who you think is going to get moved for sure and where he ends up, okay?
All right.
So we got Ryan Helsley for the Cardinals, Bubic for the Royals, Mason Miller for the A's, Ozuna for the Braves, and Alcantara for the Marlins.
Oh, yeah, Ozuna from the Braves?
Ozuna from the Braves.
So where's like a guy like Helsley end up? You're saying?
Yeah.
Whew, that's a good question. I mean, who needed relief help? I mean, hey, what if who even needed relievers?
I would love the Phils to go get Helsley.
I would love that too because they need relievers. We all know that, but
I honestly think this guy ends up as a Dodger.
That would kind of be disgusting.
I think he ends up as a Dodger, and I hate it. I hate it with every bone in my body, but I think he ends up a Dodger.
Yeah, that'd be disgusting. I mean, who needs relievers? I mean, he's a fucking great candidate to get fucking dealt.
I mean, the Mets, Phillies, Yankees, like there's a ton of people who just in our own divisions need relievers. Everybody needs relievers.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. Eventually, the Blue Jays do something nuts. I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Bubic, best asset. I mean, if he even goes, if I'm Kansas City, I don't even want to get rid of Bubic.
No, I don't send Bubic either.
Mason Miller, I probably would keep him.
Yeah, me too.
I like what the A's are building up, and he's going to be a big part of their future. Not looking fantastic this year, but we know that he's one of the better closers when he proved it last year. We'll have to see it more consistently, but I like that. Ozuna, I did like the move for Ozuna to Texas.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the fuck they would give up. Texas hasn't been shy with arms in the past, so I don't know if they would have arms to give up for Ozuna, but don't hate that. And there's Sandy. I've been saying Sandy to the Cubbies. I don't know if they love it, but
to get a righty in there.
I'd get a righty in there. I think a change of scenery is good for him. You give him especially on a team that can give you offense. So if Sandy goes like 5 innings and gives up 4 runs, it looks a lot worse in Miami.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Yeah. And he finally has some run support. So that's our trade deadline talk spin to cap it out there. That's a whole lot of Jeffrey.
That's a lot of Jeffrey. Thanks, Jeffrey, for the segment. That was presented by Jeffrey. By the way, we'll do a more talk about it on Wednesday because, hey, Thursday is the deadline. So hopefully that crazy shit happens. That's kind of where things stand right now. And then just do a little minor look ahead. We talked about the big ones as it is. We'll see. I think the biggest one is going to be Cubbies at Brewers. So the big thing to look ahead is going to be like a Matthew Boyd tonight versus Jacob Mizorowski. It's in Milwaukee. So big thing I think is going to be looking at the NL Central. How does that stack up? Looking at the AL West. And how does that stack up? Maybe even some news in the AL East because we have Toronto at Baltimore, Tampa Bay at the Yankees. Those could be some big notables as well.
Yeah, so Detroit's going to look to bounce back against Arizona as they're starting to get rid of people as well. Like you already touched on, Tampa Bay is coming into New York for a 4-game series, so that could be a huge one actually. I feel like there's one more. Oh, the Mets traveling to San Diego. That would be another good one as well, too.
So it is okay, yeah. So both teams trying to, and I think one of the things that Mets San Diego Tuesday, Manaea and Darvish. I think it's Manaea's like 5th start of the year. Darvish is like 4th starter, or maybe switched up the numbers, something like that. Either way, those are guys that both of those teams kind of need arms, and they're going to need innings eaters down the stretch. They're going to look at Manaea and Darvish as huge contributors to that staff, somewhat veteran dudes, and they're both kind of looking to get their feet wet. They'll face off each other or get their feet wet in terms of this season because I don't know how deep or how reliable they've been thus far. So keep rolling them out there. Keep letting them do their thing. You're still in the postseason. There's going to be notable arms for both of those teams. They're facing off against each other on Tuesday.
But to get back to the Chicago Cubs and the Brewers, man, Boyd versus Mizorowski, Colin Ray versus Quinn Priester, and then Shota versus Freddie on Wednesday. It's going to be a good series, good series, and definitely need to be tuning into that.
Yeah, well, I think we'll see. So Woodruff has been really good when he has since come back, but I would assume, Freddie's the ace, and then I would assume Mizorowski. I know he hasn't been there the whole season so far, but if he's your number 2, I don't know if anyone's going to totally shit on the kid for being a number 2. All right, so if that's like their big 1-2 punch in Milwaukee right now, Boyd and Imanaga are the 1-2 punch there. So we're seeing, each team's best few arms in a heavyweight matchup. For first place, by the way. Whoever wins this, they're tied.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever wins that series, the first place. And not to mention Cincinnati not far behind them. They're home against the Dodgers. We'll see Yamamoto, Chase Burns tonight. So that's the crazy shit with the Central. That's how I was getting at there. And if we just want to really quick finish with the West, because I mean, we didn't go too deep on what the West looks, AL West that is. But this is why I say this is going to be crazy because where's Houston at?
They're at Washington's coming to town.
So Washington comes to Houston. We see what's his name? Framber Valdez tonight. That's a good series for Houston. Should take care of business because that's what they do. Oh, and by the way, Texas is against the Angels. Now the Angels, Texas is hot. The Angels not a bad team. They're trying to play spoiler though, and Texas trying to stay hot against a division rival. Angels want to fucking crush their dreams. Angels want to be a nightmare. Nightmare. As fucking Gruden would say. So that could be an interesting matchup too. And then of course Seattle plays in West Sacramento. So a couple division rivals there. But my point is Seattle, who might be making moves, they could look very good against the last place A's team, and they're trying to separate themselves for Texas, who does have a little bit of a harder matchup. And then Houston, they're going to be okay, I think, against Washington. So those are some crazy ones, and I think we could also look at the AL East and see what that happens because Yankees have a harder matchup than Toronto.
Yeah, where's Toronto? Toronto's at Baltimore, so we already talked about that. But Toronto's gonna be a 4-game series in Baltimore, so always something to keep an eye on when teams are playing 4 times. And then Boston's got Minnesota, so you want to
Yeah.
keep an eye on who's ahead of you, but you also the Yankees want to. I mean, especially with Judge being out, Red Sox are definitely looking to pounce on these guys right now.
Yeah, I think the Yankees probably, especially the way the Yankees have been playing lately, and now they have Tampa Bay, who's going to play you hard. Again, another team that's going to try to play spoiler, and I don't know where they stand in the standings and shit, but are they like maybe not totally out of it? I don't fucking know.
Who? Sorry.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they're 3 games out of the wild card.
So at the very least, they're playing spoiler, but they might know. They might say, "Hey, dude, if we can have a 4-game series against the Yankees, if we win this 4-game set, look, where does that put us?" You know what I mean? So that would be kind of nuts. They're 500 right now, though, 53. But either way, Yankees have a harder matchup than the Boston with an under 500 team. Toronto's got an under 500 team. Let's go. By the way, that Toronto at Baltimore series, I think Tuesday, doubleheader. That's fun. You guys like doubleheaders? Because we love them. We love them on the program. But I think we're starting at 12:35 on Tuesday. So I think Tuesday is usually going to be a what the fuck's it called? Like I don't think games really start that early on Tuesdays. Unless I'm tripping balls. I don't think they do. So we'll be getting kicked off at 12:35 with a Toronto at Baltimore series. Well, there's that. Little look ahead there. Little look ahead. We got some fun pitching matchups though, whether it be Yamamoto and Burns, whether it be Mizorowski hosting Boyd, a pair of all-stars. Cool stuff. Good shit. We'll see Fried early this week. We'll see fucking everybody. I mean, there's no Freddie Peralta on Wednesday. By the way, Thursday there's like 3 games.
Is that it?
I think there's like 3 games on Thursday. One of them at least is the Yankees, so that's cool. 4 games.
We're winding down to the end of the season now, man.
I would have assumed that big travel day Thursday. Well, of course, Thursday is always a travel day, but teams like Mets have been away for a while, and they'll be going back to Queens, which is dog shit. I hope they lose out. Is that possible? But yeah, it's be fun though with our what's it called? Trade deadline stuff, which we'll talk more about on Wednesday. Then we got like these dog days of summer, man, and we kind of have a good idea as to who everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
And then we keep pushing. Teams start punching their ticket to October, and you know what that means, Sean? Playoff baseball.
Playoff baseball. We can probably start talking about it pretty soon. I would say after the trade deadline, we should do our biggest predictions of who's making it and who's not.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I have some. I did 30 clubs in 30 days before the season started on like this blog post. Hey, go check it out. And I kind of want to see where I stand in terms of my predictions. I ranked like all the teams. I did 30 clubs in 30 days. So you have to like see, and we'll see if what they currently stand, and then we have to do predictions for the future. See how my original predictions went.
Hell yes, man.
I'll have to see. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sean, put it up. Reporting. Hope you enjoy it. I'll see you Wednesday. Great deadline.